I think it's going to be a very up and down year where there's some weeks where you're gonna be like frustrated as all hell, and then other weeks you're gonna be convinced, oh, they figured it out. It's I just see it going back and forth that way all year pretty much.
Hello and welcome to Gangzone here. My name is Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. That's my guy Frankie Vittorini, fellow Jets expert and analyst, my guy from U Stadium. We're going to be joined by Kaz here in a second. Frankie, the Jets have officially cut down their roster to 53 man. There's still maybe a couple moves here or there we're going to figure out, and we'll find out in the next couple hours. But this is our season preview show, and look, I'm excited about this year. I know you were a little tamed at the start, but I'm happy that we're here at this point. It's a week away. We're gonna get a football. We're gonna get Week 1 Jets Steelers, Aaron Rodgers return, all of that. We're not gonna talk about Week 1 right now. This is all about this Jets team and previewing the season for this episode. And we can't do it unless we have our guy Brian Costello, Jets beat writer, joining us from the Jets facility. Kaz, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well, Cos. Doing well. I really think we might be in for a surprise this season. I'll get into it a little bit later, but Cos, I'm feeling some good vibes. I watched the Cowboys documentary, which I really liked, and I think we might be on this little Jimmy Johnson Cowboys train thing happening here. We might end up going 1-15, 1-16 like the Cowboys did, but things are going to get good here, guys. Things are going to get good.
I can't wait for the Herschel Walker trade.
The Brees Hall trade?
The Brees Hall trade?
I don't think Brees Hall will be the Herschel Walker trade. It'll be Garrett Wilson maybe get the Herschel
Oh,
Walker.
no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right, guys. Look, we got to start about this 53-man roster, the cuts. Cut day was yesterday. Today is Wednesday, August 27th. So I'll start here, Kaz. What was the biggest surprise, non-surprise for you out of all the moves the Jets made in the last 24 hours?
Oh, a lot of surprises, Ryan. Nothing that registered like major. I thought Jamal Pritchett had a chance, but I understand Xavier Gibson. I thought that was a kind of, I don't know if a coin flip's the right word, but I thought that was debatable. You could go either way with the veteran or the rookie. And I thought when he muffed the punt the other night, he probably really hurt his chances.
Mm.
But that's probably the one that comes to mind. Jamin Davis getting cut over the weekend. That was a little surprising to me. He's been with the first team a lot this summer, so I thought he probably had a chance, but nothing major. Everything was pretty much. I know we get really into cut day because we're starved for football, but this stuff doesn't really impact a lot of the season when you really think about it.
Well, I think one thing we do want to ask you about is that Gibson Pritchett. I know, like you said, you had a chance there. He was a fan favorite, Pritchett, this preseason. How training camp he looked. I know I got to go out there and see him return punts for a little bit. He's explosive. I mean, he made it look good in punt return. Gibson, ever since that Week 1 game-winning touchdown return, it just feels like it's been a downhill like spiral for him almost in that punt return aspect of his game where he specializes in. He doesn't give you much in the actual receiving part of the game. So do you understand, I guess, why the Jets are sticking with Gibson here?
Yeah, here's the thing you learn when you're around coaches for a while with punt returns, right? They value guys who can catch the ball. Like they're not so worried about breaking them. Like that's nice. Obviously, they love that. But their number one thing is don't turn it over.
Mm.
And if you remember back with Rex when Westhoff was here, Jimmy Leonard was the punt returner, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy Leonard was not returning a punt. He was not returning it for a touchdown. Okay. But Westhoff used to always say he could catch a punt in a hurricane. That was always his line. And he loved Jimmy Leonard because of that. So I think, when we asked Aaron Glenn about today, he referenced that I think he's at 145 straight punts Gibson had without a mistake. Pritchett, when I actually asked about Pritchett before the Green Bay the first preseason game, because I was writing a story about him before that game, and Glenn said, I'm anxious to see what he can do as a punt returner, right? Because you don't really evaluate punt returning in practice. It's a very hard thing to evaluate. It has to be kind of in games. He really didn't do much against Green Bay. He really didn't do much against the Giants. And then against the Eagles, he had muffed the punt, and then he had a nice return, like a 41-yard return. But I think, him dropping that punt probably hurt him pretty bad there because now the trust factor goes down with the coaches, and they clearly think Gibson is a much more reliable returner. I actually meant to look it up if he had. I couldn't remember. I thought Gibson had a fumble, um, like a fumble on a punt return at some point, but I couldn't remember it during the season. Maybe you guys remember, but I think that was the answer today.
So I just I hear you. It's the reliability of catching the football.
Also, another part, Jamal Pritchett's on the practice squad,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right? He
he is.
wasn't going anywhere. So like they knew he wasn't going to get claimed. He's on the practice squad. They can continue developing him. At some point, maybe they bring him up.
yeah.
But Gibson might have been claimed. Brant Boyer's in San Francisco. He knows him. Does he convince Kyle Shanahan to put a claim in for him? You don't know. So I think that's part of the game of this of cut down day too is who's going to get claimed, who can you stash on the practice squad. And what makes me kind of laugh is 2 years ago Xavier Gibson was Jamal Pritchett,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
He was the darling of Hard Knocks. He was the one that like everyone was celebrating. He got kept, and now it's like get rid of him, get rid of him. Like I don't know. I think the Jamal Pritchett was like just one of these guys who kind of he's very fast and he stood out sometimes in training camp, but maybe it's getting a little overblown of how valuable he would have been.
Kaz, how concerned are you with this wide receiver room currently? Because I'll be honest, I can't wrap my head around this room being the room that can lead this team into victory week one and lead us to 8, 9 wins, like a lot of Jeff fans are looking to. Kaz, Garrett Wilson, Lazard, Reynolds, Arian Smith, Tyler Johnson, then Xavier Gibson, who in many ways is more of a return person than he is an actual receiver. So, I mean, what are you thinking about this room? Is something going to happen, you think, or?
I don't know what can happen, Frankie, to be honest with you at this point. Like it feels like all the trades of receivers have happened. I mean, Jacoby Myers is still out there, right?
Yes.
He's requesting a trade from the Raiders. He's got a hefty salary though. I think he's north of $10 million. He's looking for a contract extension, according to the reports. Um, so I don't know, what's he going to cost in terms of draft compensation? What's he going to cost in terms of a contract? Would the Raiders eat some of that money? So he's kind of the one wild card, I guess, out there who he would be a difference maker. I like Jacoby Myers. I think that could be something. But other than him, I'm not really sure what you're getting in the, August 31st, September 1st part of the calendar that's going to have an impact. Am I concerned about it? Yeah, I think they've got issues past Garrett Wilson. Are there going to be some weeks when they'll get 85 yards out of Alan Lazard or out of Josh Reynolds? Yeah, probably. But I don't think you can consistently count on production from anyone other than Garrett Wilson in that room. So I think that's a problem. But yeah, it's going to be, to me, it's probably the biggest question entering the season, and probably there's the biggest question entering training camp, and it remains: did they do enough at wide receiver, and is it enough to help Justin Fields?
That's something that Aaron Glenn, I look back, cause when you guys talked to him at the owners meetings down in Florida, I believe, and you had asked
Yeah,
him because Justin Fields he said Justin Fields is a starter, and he says we're gonna do the best job we can to surround him with the best people and players that we can. You just kind of question though if they did the right thing in surrounding him in the wide receiver room because another guy that got cut yesterday was Malachi Corley, who turned out to be a 1 year stay here with the Jets after being drafted in the third round. No matter what, Malachi Corley is no longer a New York Jet.
yeah, I think it's the question. It's a fair question, Ryan, and we'll probably be talking about it all season. Is did they do enough to help Justin Fields? Because when you do the references to Sam Darnold or to Geno Smith or to Baker Mayfield and the guys who've kind of revived their careers, those guys went to pretty good situations. Obviously Darnold to a really ideal situation with Justin Jefferson and Kevin O'Connell and a good offensive line there. And Baker's got really talented guys with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And he had Liam Cohen there and Canales before him, who both became head coaches. So yeah, I think the spotlight will be on did they do enough at receiver and how's Tanner Engstrand doing when we have that Justin Fields conversation, for sure.
Kaz, last position group I kind of want to touch on. Obviously, tight end is another group that us Jeff fans and people in the NFL world are looking at here. We go out and we get us Jelani Woods. Jelani Woods. I'm a big fan of Jelani Woods. I was a big fan of him out of college, the former third-round pick. Went through some injuries now the last couple years. So 2023 had this recurring hamstring injury that caused him to miss the year. Last year had turf toe, which he got surgery in around this time last year, 4 months, but then ended up missing the season. Very athletic, had a perfect RAS score. I love that RAS score, but so did Zach Kuntz. He had a perfect RAS score too, so I don't want to get too excited about it. But
shaking his head at you right now.
But
You're gonna make me curse.
Kaz, what do you think?
Here, Ryan?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can curse. Yeah, I
allow
curse
it.
all the time. No, I don't. But no, Kaz, what are your thoughts there? And we spoke before the show. Apparently, the Jets are keeping 4 tight ends on the roster. Maybe they're keeping 5 because Andrew Beck's another one. I like it. Give me all them tight ends, Kaz.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, when we're recording this, we haven't seen the moves yet. There were corresponding moves, but out on the practice field today, when the media viewing window, Jeremy Rucker was there, Stone Smart was there, so it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. The moves would have already had to be submitted to the NFL, so those guys wouldn't be on the practice field. But we'll see. The roster, I still think has a few things to shake out. Look, these are dart throws to me, Frankie, whenever you pick up guys. And look, the Jets have had some good ones. Quincy Williams is one, right? He worked out great. John Franklin Myers, Braxton Berrios were all good ones, but there's been plenty that didn't pan out too. So I think it's worth a shot. The guy, like you said, he had a pretty impressive resume coming out of college. He's just been injured, but it seems like the injuries maybe aren't chronic, knee or shoulder or something that's going to be recurring. You would think the turf toe is probably better and his hamstring's better. So it's worth a shot. I'd be lying if I said I knew a lot about the player, so I'm curious to see how he kind of slides into that room. And in terms of the tight end room, Mason Taylor is the guy, and can he acclimate quickly to the NFL? Like that's the question: is how quick? You never know with rookies how it's going to go. He's a talented guy. He's shown some stuff during the summer, but regular season games are different, and we're going to see how quickly he can get in the swing of things and how quickly he and Justin Fields can develop a rapport.
It could be potentially the number 2 wide receiver on this team if Mason Taylor could somehow, and that's a lot. It's getting a lot of a rookie. It's something though. We all are paying attention to.
Yeah, I think Ryan, like Breece Hall, is probably the favorite to be the number 2 in
true.
terms of receptions on the team, and I think Mason's probably, but he's probably right behind Breece.
Yeah,
I would probably, if you're betting on who the number 2 number 2 in receptions is going to be, I think those are the 2 guys.
Well, look, Kaz, I would be mistaken if I didn't bring this up in the pod. And before we get to the Justin Fields part of the show, the Jets did make 2 trades last week. After we got done taping, they went ahead and traded for 2 defensive tackles. They clearly were listening to everyone else, and I think they knew that they were thin at that position besides Quinn Williams. They go out and get Harrison Phillips, a well-known player, well-respected player by all accounts, from the Vikings, and then they go and get Juwan Briggs from Cleveland. So what do you make of the Jets making both those deals before the start of the season?
Yeah, I think it's an acknowledgement that they didn't do enough at the position in March, right? Byron Cowart was early in the camp, was kind of the guy, and then he got hurt, and he's now uninjured reserve and won't play this season. Jay Tufele's had some good moments, but I don't think you think of him as a starter on the defensive line. He's probably a nice rotational piece. Leonard Taylor really didn't make a leap that maybe some people thought he might in his second year. So I think they looked at it and said, we better do something. And Harrison Phillips to me is a very good move. He gives them a big run stuffer in the middle, and run defense was an issue with this team last year, and he'll help in that regard. He's a professional, played a long time. So I think that was a really good move. Briggs to me is more of a depth move. But again, good on them for recognizing that the position needed it and going out and getting it done, and not really giving up much in terms of draft capital to do it.
And I really like what you said there about the run defense. This is going to help them on the run defensive part of the game because they struggled last year, and it felt like they didn't have enough beef up in the middle to help the linebackers, Jamie Sherwood and Quincy Williams, make enough plays, even though those guys do make plays and fly around the ball. This could help them. This could free them up more to be those kind of free linebackers where I'm sure Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilkes want to get these guys blitzing, moving. And if these guys can eat up space in the middle, it's just going to make them better on defense.
Harrison Phillips, guys, had a year. He had 92 tackles as a defensive tackle. Aaron Donald never had a year he had over 90 tackles.
Don't compare him.
I'm not comparing. I'm just saying.
Kaz is going to curse. Kaz is going to curse. I'm telling you right now.
What was his RAS score?
Hey, I have to bring up the stats. These are objective numbers, everyone. I'm not making them up. But
he's laughing at you.
Aaron Donald.
No, listen. I'm a fan of the move.
Yeah.
I think you gave up 2-6. You swapped one set there. But
they got a trade pick for Derek Nandi.
Yeah.
How do they make that happen?
He was gonna get, and Kaz wrote about it or tweeted about it. He was gonna get cut, right?
It's crazy.
So
yeah, he did nothing. Like he was a guy who was invisible all camp, and then if you notice, he played a ton against the Eagles, which is always a bad sign when you're a veteran.
Yeah.
I don't know how they found the one team that probably wanted them, right? That knows them and was then I don't know what's going on in Kansas City on their defensive line, but clearly they were looking for somebody they knew and trusted. And yeah, I mean it was just a late, what was it? It's just a pick swap, right?
Pick swap.
But it's pretty incredible that you got anything for him.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's get
He'll now catch the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Hey,
when you get traded back to the Chiefs.
Didn't Harmon get cut? I saw that yesterday.
Yeah. He's around.
He'll be
As
back.
always.
He'll be back on the Chiefs probably again. Fellas, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this season preview for the Jets. Justin Fields.
Ooh.
Listen, he was named the starter from the start with Aaron Glenn. He's had a whole run through training camp with the Tanner Engstrand offense, with Garrett Wilson. He's reunited with his old college buddy. Kaz, you've talked about it here on this pod. The passing offense is a concern. It hasn't looked as sharp as we would hope as Jets fans ourselves, or for you as a reporter watching it, firsthand. What is the realistic expectations for Justin Fields and this Jets offense?
Yeah, I think realistically, Ryan, it's never as bad as it seems and never as good as it seems, right? In the summer. So, while I would put it this way, there was more bad than good this summer from Justin Fields in the offense. There were good days. And I think that's probably going to continue into the season. I think there's going to be games where this works, where they run the ball down people's throats. They loosen things up, and Justin Fields is able to throw, for a decent amount of yards, and they'll win some games. And then there's going to be days when they get just shut down. And I think it's going to be matchups. Like when they're playing top defenses, is going to be rough for them. I think if they fall behind in the first half, things are going to get dicey. This is not going to be a team, to me, that's going to thrive coming from behind. So can they get leads? It's something we have not seen the Jets do much of in recent years. They feels like they're always playing from behind because they never seem to score in the first quarter. So to me, can Tanner Engstrand figure out a way to get this offense started quickly in games? And I think if they can play from in front, like I said, I can't remember the last time I saw the Jets play from in front and come out and score on the first drive, come out and score a couple touchdowns in the first quarter, things go well. So I think it's going to be a very up and down year where there's some weeks where you're gonna be like frustrated as all hell, and then other weeks you're gonna be convinced, oh, they figured it out. It's I just see it going back and forth that way all year pretty much.
Kaz, do you think this team is going to be as run heavy as people speculate they'll be? Because I'm starting to feel like it may not be as run heavy as we may all think. Tanner likes to throw the ball around the yard. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think just like what I said, frankly, I think some of that's determined by score. Right?
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think you see a lot of times, and in my opinion, NFL teams get away from the run too quickly. Like I've covered teams where it's like 10-0 in the second quarter, and they start throwing the ball, and you ask the coordinator, well, they're like, well, we were behind by 10 points in the second quarter. And I'm like, all right, like you need to just abandon it then. So yeah, I think it's going to be determined by that. So probably not as much as we think because I feel like we're all the way over here right now on run.
Yeah.
I don't think that's realistic, but I like, look, would it shock me if they lead the league in rushing attempts this year after being 31st? No. I think they're going to try to do it. I just don't know how successful they'll be in operating like that.
Well, a big key component, it feels like, is going to be the Justin Fields read option part of this offense and how
Yeah.
he's used as a runner, because we didn't see it really at all in the preseason games. It felt like they try to keep that out of the game planning and scripting for these preseason games. How much is that going to be a part of what they do in this run game?
Big. I mean, we saw it in training camp. You also don't want to do it in preseason games because it puts him at risk,
Yeah.
right? And why do that? He's going to take hits if he's doing that in games versus camp practices. So I think it's going to be a big part of it, Ryan. And it's impressive. Like when they did it in camp, and like he is fast. And when he hits the mesh point with Brees, and it's like you don't know which way it's going, or Braylon Allen, like it's gonna work. It's gonna work pretty well, I think, at times. I'm sure some teams will be better at it than others defending it, but to me, that's gonna be a huge part. And yeah, you're right. I think how successful they are in that will go a long way determining, the rushing game.
How long of a leash do you think Justin Fields is going to have here this year? Is it going to be him no matter what? If he's healthy and he's ready to play, he'll be the starting quarterback no matter what.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would have to be really big, be a real disaster for them to bench him. They don't have anyone waiting in the wings, like this isn't the Giants where you're kind of like we're now, well, when's Jackson Dart going to start? Like they just don't have that guy. No one's going to be clamoring for Tyrod Taylor. I don't think so. I think it's going to be him if he's healthy, unless it would have to really, really go off the rails to me for them to do anything else.
Kaz, do you think we need or we should bring in another quarterback to that active 53? I was telling Ryan before, I do believe with this new emergency quarterback stipulation under the new CBA, you can actually dress a quarterback that's not included in in the game day 46 that can be activated, assuming your first two quarterbacks do go down. You're trying to win.
And they're relying on Tyrod Taylor, who's still, by all accounts, Aaron Glenn said he expects to be healthy week 1. But again, he's dealing with a knee injury he's trying to rehab from.
Yeah, and I know this is a season preview show, but in football, it's also a week-to-week thing. I think week 1 is that important that you need to make sure no matter what, going back to that, no matter what, you put yourself in the best position to win week 1. I don't see it hurting us bringing in or activating Brady Cook if they want from the practice squad. They can do that now. But I don't know, Kaz, what do you think about that? Doesn't seem like they will, but do you think they should?
I guess here's the question I'd ask Frankie.
Yeah.
So Brady Cook would be the guy.
Let's say Brady Cook.
Let's say Brady Cook is the
That's
guy.
most realistic at this point.
How much does Brady Cook increase your odds of winning that game if he has to come in the game versus I don't know who the emergency quarterback is. Maybe Stone Smart, right? Didn't he play quarterback
He did.
or something? So like, there's always a guy who played quarterback when they were in high school or college. Like they're not winning that game if Brady Cook has to play, right?
Yeah, no.
Can we agree on that? Like so
For the most part, yeah.
I get your point, but I think you roll the dice. And look for Aaron Glenn has not lied about injuries. He's actually been on the money with injuries so far. Like he said Lazard will be a couple of weeks, and we all kind of like, well, they could play a game there and put him on our. Lazard is back in a couple of weeks. He's been honest about the injury, so I trust him when he says they expect Tyrod back, and then their actions speak louder than the words. Their actions are saying they expect Tyrod back. So I'm not worried about that. I get your point. And, maybe if they had somebody who you felt like could win games, Brady Cook cannot win games in the NFL right now. Like I go back to, I think I've said this before on this podcast, the story about Tom Moore and Peyton Manning.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They said that one. Yeah. They don't like Ron Jaworski asked him why Peyton Manning takes all the snaps in practice. And Tom Moore said, well, if Peyton goes down, we're effed, and we don't practice. We don't practice effed, and that's like really the case. It's usually like we fixate on the backup quarterbacks and stuff. And I know a couple years ago, Flacco had a good run, and a few of them had good runs, but usually you're effed if you're playing a backup quarterback. And when you get to the third quarterback, then your odds really go down. So I think they're okay with that without the third quarterback right now.
Kaz, we do realize, and Ryan, though, Justin Fields has yet to play 16 games. Tyrod Taylor has yet to be able to put together 4 or 5 starts consecutively without going down. I'm just saying,
I agree with you.
There's going to probably be another quarterback, Tyrod or maybe somebody else, that's going to have to start a game or two this year at the minimum if you're a betting man. I'm just saying. But
So we should.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. But yeah, I think if Fields gets hurt, then you're bringing in another quarterback, to back up Tyrod.
yeah, yeah,
I have an idea now for future the next segment, but
perfect.
so Kaz, like you talked about the run game, you talked about the wide receivers earlier in the episode. Can you just describe to me Braylon Allen, Brees Hall, and Isaiah Davis, just how they're going to be able to split the carries between all three of these
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah, so little plug for our season preview, Ryan, that comes out, I don't know what day next week, Wednesday, Thursday usually comes out. But in the season preview, we have these like categories, and one of them was like toughest coaching decision or toughest decision they have to make, and that's what I put is how are they going to split these carries? Because I don't know. I don't know the answer. I'm fascinated to see it because they bring up like going back to Aaron Glenn at that owners meetings, right? We asked about Brees Hall, and he brought up all three guys right away. And that led to speculation that they were going to trade Brees Hall, and he's kind of laughed at that recently. But it is going to be interesting to see how they do it, how they get all three involved, and do they ride the hot hand? Do they, is Brees to start the season the guy, and they're sprinkling the other guys in? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I mean, I feel like, that Green Bay preseason game, they were using all three of them pretty much with the first team. Is that the way they're going to do it? I know fantasy owners keep asking me.
Yeah.
They're I keep getting that question from fantasy owners about Brees and Braylon. So yeah, I think that's going to be a huge thing with Tanner Engstrand is how do you figure that out?
It feels like the majority of the explosive plays from this offense is going to be coming from those three. Like, and Justin Fields obviously in the read option. Like that's the way you're going to be at least explosive on offense because I just don't know if they're going to be able to throw the ball downfield well, at least well enough as you would hope as a passing attack.
Garrett can sometimes break them,
Yeah.
right? Too. Garrett can break off big ones. We've seen that before. Maybe it might not be a 60-yard pass in the air, but Garrett sometimes can hit. You can hit him across the middle, and he can bust loose.
And they
So
might
we'll
do
see.
a lot. Cannon's going to do a lot, I think, similarly to what Ben Johnson did with Amon-Ra St. Brown in Detroit. They're going to want to use Garrett in that same role because Amon-Ra was eating across the middle.
I know he's a
last year.
target hog, and that's what
Yeah,
Garrett's going to have to
you
be for
know.
this offense too.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's something I had mentioned earlier on the show is that they are trying to model this offense. It seems like the Lions did. You got a target
Yep.
monster in Garrett Wilson, like Amon-Ra. You have two stud running backs in Brees and Braylon, and you're hoping the same thing at Gibbs and Montgomery you can replicate. You have a young tight end, Sam Laporta. You're hoping Mason Taylor can somehow
Totally, dude.
be maybe 85% of that. So I see what they're trying to do. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's
Don't have Jared Goff.
they don't have
Yeah.
Jared Goff though.
But you
That's
have Brady Cook.
What was
Kaz is going to choke me? He's
I
like,
swear, man.
I was like,
You're trying to get him to curse.
Jared Goff's ROS score was terrible.
It actually was.
All right,
Justin
It
Fields.
was
I bet Justin Fields is much
3.7.
better.
Yeah, Justin
probably,
was great, yeah.
probably. So I'm going to tee up now the next segment here because I want Juliana, our TD here, to play this sound from Aaron Glenn today, speaking to Kaz and the reporters about the offensive center position. Juliana, can you tee it up?
What are your plans at center?
Say it again.
Your plans for the center position? I mean,
To play a center.
you'll start a center.
Yep.
Okay. Who is it?
A center. Yep.
Not saying.
A center.
How do you think that position battle played out over the course of the summer between?
It's still playing out.
Still playing out. Brian Costello. What the heck is going on with the center position between Joe Tippmann and Josh Myers?
Here's my theory here. Okay, I think John Simpson might be more injured than they're letting on.
Ooh.
He wasn't on the field today. He wasn't on the field Monday. So there's no injury report right now, obviously, until next Wednesday would be the first day that we get an injury report from the Jets. So I'm curious, but I think if John Simpson is injured, then you see Josh Myers at center and you see Joe Tippmann at left guard. And so I think Glenn is kind of playing that game right now of not revealing stuff. And look, I get it. He doesn't want to reveal it. He can probably answer the question a little more diplomatically, but he doesn't want to. So that's his decision. But yeah, I think to me, I'm curious. John Simpson had the back injury in camp. He came back. He did come back from it,
Yeah.
but now he's not practicing again. And, you know, when you watch these things, guys, is like when you go to practices, there's not much value in the practices once training camp is over. We only get to watch 20 minutes, and it's mostly stretching and special teams. But one thing you look at is who is on the field. And like, I'm not talking about even between the lines. Today, for example, Sauce Gardner was not practicing, but Sauce was standing out there. He had his jersey on, he had sweatpants on. He was kind of messing around, throwing the ball around. Sauce looks fine to me. Like I'm like, okay, he's John Simpson wasn't on the field. And so that means he's inside getting treatment. That means something. And so that's one to watch to me. And we'll see when we get the injury report next week what the status is.
It's a good point, and it's something definitely to pay attention to. Just because the reason we as fans are wondering and asking you is, we heard the preseason talk with when they did bring in Myers. Glenn talked about, we'll see, we'll evaluate the center position. It felt like, at least from him and probably Muji, that they didn't think Joe Tippmann is automatically the starting center for them this year.
Yeah, and look, they've split the time. Like those guys have been rotating all spring and all summer, so it hasn't stopped. They've still been playing, you know, Myers there a lot. So I do think there is a decision there. I find it a little hard to believe that they don't know what they're doing right now, right? The hay is in the barn to me in terms of roster evaluation. Today was their final practice before a little break here, but I think they've got to know who the center is if everyone's healthy. To me, I'm just wondering if Glenn was just playing a little cat and mouse game today because possibly if Simpson's not there, Myers is the starting center, and he's just playing a semantics game right now.
Kaz, what are your expectations for the defense this year? Kind of switching sides. Do you think this unit is going to be somewhere hovering around the top 10 in football?
Yeah, because look, Frankie, they were last year. They were
Yeah.
number 3 in yards allowed. The problem with this defense last year was not like how good they were in terms of allowing yards. It was they collapsed in the fourth quarter several times. They didn't create enough takeaways. They just didn't impact the game enough. And so that's my question: is could they have more impact? I think they got 2 players coming back from injury this year that'll have a huge impact. Jermaine Johnson, I wrote about that. I think Jermaine, like when he was out in team drills last week, I felt bad for Armand Membu and Olu because those guys have been out there sweating for 5 weeks and dying. They're just dying to get rid of camp. And here comes a freaking beast who's so excited to be back on a football field and was just flying around. So Jermaine can have a big impact. And then a guy I think hasn't been talked about enough is Michael Carter, who is a really good nickel corner.
Yeah.
Like, right, we were talking about last year, is he the best nickel in the league? Is he going to get paid like the best nickel in the league? Then he had a herniated disc in London. He suffered a herniated disc in his back, and he was never
Yep.
quite the same guy all season. He tried to come back a few times. He told me the New England game in New England, he re-injured it. He twisted kind of weird and re-injured it, and he just never really looked like himself. And you look at the snap counts, he was coming in and out of games a lot. So can he be 100%? He's a very good player to me when he's healthy. So I think those two pieces are nice. Um, I have a question about Brandon Stevens. He's had a tremendous training camp. He's been everything you could have asked for in training camp. Still want to see it in regular season, and so I think he'll be targeted opposite Sauce. Can he hold up? But I think this defense will be good, Frankie. I don't. The question is, can they be more impactful than last year?
Yeah.
I'm not so much concerned about are they top 5 or top 10. It's can they affect the game? Can they turn the ball over? Can they give Justin Fields the ball on the 20-yard line sometimes? Like, how often have we seen that? Like, as good as this defense was under Solid and Ulbrich, they didn't do that a lot.
Yeah.
Can they score some touchdowns on their own? Can they when a team gets the ball with 1:53 on the clock, down by 4 points, can they stop them? Because like remember the Colts last year?
Yeah.
Right. And that's Anthony Richardson, who just lost his job to Daniel Jones, and he looked like freaking John Elway going down the field against this defense last year. So those are the questions I have about the defense, and we'll see. We'll see if Wilkes and Glenn can kind of change that.
And turnovers win you games.
Yeah,
One turnover swings the pendulum right away of a game. A pick six, right? You can go from being,
No doubt.
The other team could be favored 4.5. You get a pick six, you're favored
I'd love
automatically.
to see this defense create more turnovers. Sauce Gardner's got to be one of those guys for them too.
100%.
I do want
Yeah, and Stevens. I mean, Stevens. The knock
too.
on him with Baltimore was he was there a lot of times in coverage, but didn't make plays on the ball. And but he has in camp. He's intercepted Fields a few times. So yeah, and I think too, like just having fumbles bounce their way, sometimes that can help too. So yeah, and then maybe McDonald and Jermaine Johnson can cause some havoc and strip sacks and things like that.
And I think one thing too it holds true with this Jets defense the last couple of years under Saleh was teams felt like they were being more conservative. It felt like, and not being as or not conservative, but they weren't trying to test the Jets defense as much as you would hope because the Jets offense was never putting up as many points.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they just are like, hey, we'll have conservative game plans. We're not going to really try and attack you as aggressively as you would think. So I agree with you, Kaz. It's one of those key situations of like, can you stop Anthony Richardson from a game-winning drive? Can you stop these guys in these big moments to not win to help win you some football games?
And I need to see them stop the run, guys. Like we talked
Yeah.
about earlier. I need to see that because, like, to me, the first sign of trouble last year was San Francisco, and like 90 minutes before the game, we find out Christian McCaffrey isn't playing. Remember, it was a shock, right? Everyone thought McCaffrey was playing, it was a shock, and then what's his name? Mason.
Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason comes in and like looks like Emmitt Smith. So I'm like, and you're like, who the hell is this guy? And,
They couldn't stop the run.
Everybody scrambled to see if he was available in their fantasy league. Like, he killed them, and it was like, okay, and that to me was like the first moment of the season. And yeah, so can they stop the run?
Oh yeah. Hey, Jermaine Johnson did not have a good game
still on this roster
that day either. Nobody had a good game on that front.
No,
they got their stuff pushed in, man.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Michael Clemens will be better, Ryan, in a limited role.
If he's disciplined.
Yes.
What happens, Kaz, if he goes out there third down, he hits the quarterback late?
Well, number one, I don't think you want him on third down.
I agree.
I think you're hoping Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson are on third down. I think he's more
second down. Play action pass happens, and he hits the quarterback.
If he's playing 25 snaps versus 65 snaps, that's 40 less chances for him to punch somebody. That's how you got to view this, Ron.
By the way, it's going to happen.
I know it is. That's what I'm saying.
It hopefully doesn't happen a lot. It'll happen once or twice this season. That's just the way he plays.
He's an undisciplined player. I understand he's tough and he's got the mentality that Steve Wilkes likes and Glenn likes, but there's also a time where he's just not good. He was not good against the run. He was getting collapsed on. Offensive tackles were washing him down. Deion Dawkins made him like his child against the Bills.
Yeah,
and that's a game where you have to get up for against the Bills. So. We'll see. I'm not buying that.
I was worried, Frankie. He was going a different direction.
I saw that. He almost went there.
Yeah. That would have been viral. That would have been viral. That would
not happening.
Ryan.
Not happening. Not on the season preview show. After a couple of games, maybe we'll get there, guys. I got some trivia for you, fellas. I want to test you guys a little bit here. So, speaking of rookie tight ends, do you guys know who is the Jets' all-time rookie single season leader in receiving yards? I'll give you mad props if either one of you get this.
As a rookie tight end?
As a tight end?
As a tight end rookie, a single season, who holds the all-time record in receiving yards? For the Jets, guys.
I'm going to go first. Dustin Keller.
Close. Dustin Keller was second all-time with 535 receiving yards in 2008.
I'll go Mickey Schuler.
Good guess, Kaz, but Mickey Schuler does hold the single season receiving yards record for a tight end Jets all time, but that was in year 7. He only had 70 receiving yards in his first year with the Jets.
Oh my God, what a bad team.
Is it someone recent?
No. You guys give up?
Jerome Barkham?
No.
Anthony Becht?
No.
All right, I give up.
You give up?
Yeah, I give up.
Pete Lamons. In 1966, he had.
What'd you chat GP this one?
Dude, I have like, what the hell is going? The Jets have not been pretty with tight ends. If you guys,
it's crazy. Wow, Pete Lamons.
565 receiving yards.
That's actually impressive
year.
in '66.
In 1966 is very impressive, but but that's how low the bar is for the Jets and rookie tight ends.
Oh,
And-
okay.
and
You're
this-
asking, will Mason Taylor get there?
Well, that's
Ooh, I
where we
like
go
this.
into our
Nice.
over-under, fellas. Let's do some
Wow,
over-under
Ryan,
picks.
Doing such a great job
I'm
today.
trying to spice up the show a little bit. I think trivia is always fun for you guys. And I feel like I can never stump Kaz when it comes to trivia. He knows his
That
history.
was a good one. Lammons did cross my mind. He was the Super Bowl III tight end.
That's
So,
right.
It crossed my mind.
Not bad trivia though, right, Kaz? Pete Lamons.
It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Guys, you
I
know,
thought the guy, that Jets History Twitter account, which is fantastic. You guys follow that guy?
Yeah, really good.
He had a really good trivia question the other day. So everyone knows quarterbacks who've played for the Steelers and Jets, right? They know Bubby Brister, Neil O'Donnell, Michael Vick, right? Are the big ones. There's another one who's played for both teams, and he gave that one out the other day.
I didn't
Any
see
good
that one.
guesses?
Is it well known?
Any guesses? No.
No.
Any guesses?
No idea.
No, I'm not gonna get it.
Mark Malone
Wow.
Oh,
threw for 2 passes for the Jets in 1989. That was a good trivia question.
that is a good trivia question.
Mark Malone was like the guy who followed Bradshaw in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
So yeah,
2 passes, Kaz, he had here.
2 passes in 1989 for the Jets.
I'll give you guys credit if you could tell me who had the third best rookie tight end season in yards all time.
Well, Keller was
Recent.
second.
Keller was second. You guys didn't name him yet. That's why I'm trying to ask you.
Chris Herndon.
Yeah, Chris
Wow.
Herndon, 2018.
Third?
Third. 502
Holy
yards.
Smokes, man. We have some
Yeah.
problems there. Jeez Louise.
We gotta get Connor Hughes over here. Connor Hughes loved Chris Herndon
Herndon was solid for the Jets. They got a steal of a draft pick
for a
that trade.
minute. For a minute, yeah.
They got
a
a
hot
third round
minute.
pick right out of there, or was that 4th round pick? I can't remember. Maybe it was a 5th. I don't know.
That was a good trade.
It was a good trade for
Yeah.
Joe Douglas.
Yeah, think of 4th. Yeah.
So listen, I will start with the Mason Taylor one, but I do want to start this segment off. Tell the fans here, Kaz, you were a moneymaker if fans wanted to bet on Kaz's
God.
over-unders. And our editor and sports chief, Mark Hale over there, loves Kaz's over-unders pick. His record on the season was 67, 43, and 4. Incredible year. You would have made a ton of money off of Kaz.
You're having
last year.
issues paying your rent.
Listen to
better listen
Kaz's
to this.
over-unders
Seriously.
picks. And that,
Entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
that does include Kaz's record picking games also, too, if you're wondering. But incredible. So, Kaz, I got some really good over-unders here. I want to start with the rookie Mason Taylor here. Since we just went through the top 3 right there, I feel like that's a good starting point. 500 receiving yards over-under for Mr. Mason Taylor with the Jets.
I'll go under on that one.
Jets
That's a
fan-
good season.
That is a good
Like
season.
I wonder how many. I wonder just beyond Jets. Like everyone's gonna go, oh, Brock Bowers, but like how many rookie tight ends have over 500 yards receiving? I wonder.
It's a lot. I didn't want to go through that entire list. There's a
So
lot. There's a lot of tight ends with under 500 yards.
I'm
No,
saying
over. How
Oh.
over? How many over?
Oh,
How
there was only
no.
2 more. There was only 2
I'm
more.
not talking about Jets. I'm talking about across the league. How
Oh.
many rookie tight? Because like Bowers obviously broke the the model last year, but like was Gronk a rookie when he had the crazy did he have a crazy season as a rookie? I just don't even remember how many like tight ends have crazy seasons.
Gronk his first year had 546 receiving yards. That would have
barely
been
over, but
second all time
Barely.
in Jets history.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in Sam Laporta, who had a great rookie year.
he did have over.
He had
He
726
had a good
receiving
year that
yards
year.
for the
What,
Lions
he had
that
8
year.
Yeah.
touchdowns that year?
He had 7 touchdowns that
7
year.
touchdowns, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Guys, even better. I was looking at 2024. 2023, Sam Laporta, 889 receiving yards, 10 receiving
That's
touchdowns.
right. That was
Incredible
a
year
horrible
for a
year.
rookie
Yeah,
tight
yeah,
end.
yeah.
And like you said, Bowers had an even better year. All right, Kaz has
Yeah.
Mason Taylor under 500 receiving yards. What do you got him at? Over under 500.
I'm going under.
Okay.
Barely
He is
under,
under.
but I'm going under. I'm piggybacking off Kaz
Okay.
with this one.
Kaz, let's go to the quarterback, Justin Fields. I got a couple here for him. Over under 2,550 and a half passing yards.
It's a good number.
It's a great number.
That's a really good number.
He does that all the time. He goes,
I
"That's a
love when he
good
does
number."
it because it is a
Vegas-
good number.
Vegas
When
knows
he
it's a
says
great
it's a good
number.
number, it is a good number though.
Because if you gave me 3,000, I'd go under.
Right.
Or if you gave you 2750, you'd go under.
Yeah, but 25, like, I'm gonna go over, but slightly over, Ryan.
Okay. Kaz has it going over. Frankie?
So do I. I have it going
All right,
over.
Over
Yep.
for Frankie as well. All right, Kaz. Justin Fields, 650.5 rushing yards.
Under. That's a lot of yards.
Under.
I know he had the great season in 2022, but 3 years later.
Frankie?
I'm going over, baby.
Over. You got him
Going
over
over.
3,000 all-purpose yards.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully he plays.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think too. Like with Fields, the number, like
That's
Frankie said before,
that's part of the
He-
over-unders they put together with him.
he's-
It's yeah.
probably going to miss 3 games, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3 games, probably. So
Garrett Wilson, fellas. They got him at 925.5 receiving yards.
I go over on that. Like, I mean, look what he's done in his career, and you'd hope the offense is going to be better this year than it's been. So I'll go over there.
I'm going over also.
Over for Frankie. Okay,
The
Brees.
one I think. Do you have receiving touchdowns for Garrett?
I can look it up. I didn't
Look
have
it up,
on
yeah.
there. Okay.
Yeah,
I think it was 4.5, if I recall.
because that's an interesting number.
All right, Kaz, am I adding this to you? You want the over under 4.5 receiving touchdowns?
I'll go over. I'm going to go over.
Okay.
'Cause I think I think they're going to be pumping the ball to him constantly.
You know what? I would bet under on it because I
Okay.
think he'll have 4. I don't think Fields is going to throw for a lot of passing touchdowns, and if he does, it'll be to a lot of different people than the wide receiver one.
All right, let's go to Brees Hall. Big topic of discussion here about him and how he's going to be using this offense. 850.5 rushing yards. 850.5 rushing yards, Kaz.
Over.
Wow.
That's a good year.
I was going to guess you were going to go under. Wow.
Yeah, I'm a Brees guy. I'm a Brees guy. I know. I believe in Brees, and I think contract year, right? I think he's going to be. I think he's going to have a good year.
Frankie?
I'm going under, boys. I think.
Doesn't shock me from you.
Yeah.
I'd probably go under on Brees touchdowns, Ryan, because I think Braylon Allen's gonna get some of those goal line carries and stuff, and I think Fields is gonna score a lot of rushing touchdowns, like inside the 10. So probably would go under on his touchdowns, but over on the yards.
Kaz, do you think, let's say, second half of the year, Jets are basically out of it?
They have Brees at 5.5 rushing touchdowns. Just give everyone a heads
That's
up.
a good number. That's pretty higher than I thought, honestly. Actually, not really. Like if they run the ball as much as they say they will. But Kaz, if they start, do you think there's a chance they start phasing him out in the second half of the year? I mean, why would you want to tally up his numbers, help out his negotiations? It would help
Yeah,
out
coaches
his
don't.
ability to negotiate.
Coaches
don't believe in that.
coaches don't think like that.
They're winning
Frankie.
games.
Coaches, all they're
If he's-
gonna be worried about is winning games. They are
in the second half of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all That's all the Glenn is going to be worried
He's your
about,
second
winning
best
games.
receiver.
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yes.
rushing yards.
I know, but still, like you're incorporating him all around in the offense. Like I'm
The
gonna.
I could see
variable,
Braylon
the,
Allen being the guy second half, guys.
the variable to me with Brees is are they terrible at the trading deadline? Do they have one win at the trade deadline or something? And they spin him off then. I could see that happening. But yeah, if he's on the team, I think they're still. You also, I just don't see them turning away from Brees completely.
All right, fellas, let's wrap up the rest of the over-unders. I got 2 more for you. Arian Smith, rookie, 2.5 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, under on Arian Smith. I think he'll have a role, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a big role.
I'm going over, baby.
Oh,
Arian Smith's got some Hollywood in him. I see a little Deshaun Jackson. See a little dancing in the end zone. I'm kind of looking forward to this. I'll tell you, he's gonna get a few deep balls, Kaz. Wait, 2.5 also includes if we give him a reverse. This is total, right?
All right, fine. I'll give you 2.5 total
Total. All
touchdowns.
right, give me. All right, perfect, great.
Kaz, you sticking with the under 2.5?
I'm sticking with the under.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this
All right,
reverse.
let's get.
I got a feeling. The questions I'm going to be getting in October is why isn't Arian Smith bigger part of the offense?
That's 100%
I can see that coming a mile away.
From me, especially.
I have one defensive prop here. Felt relevant just because he had a monster breakout year, or not monster, but a breakout year last year. Will McDonald, 10.5 sacks.
Is that the number?
No, that's not the number. That's the
Number's
number
not
five.
out yet.
That's not the number we see.
That's
He had
our
10 and a half
number.
last year. So you're saying is he gonna go over what he had last year?
Yes.
No, I go under.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Frankie.
I'll go over.
Okay.
Barely, but I'll go over.
That's a lot of sacks.
It is to do it back-to-back years too.
And
That's a
remember,
tough year.
Will had
Tough
a
to do
great
twice.
season. I'm not taking away from him, but
Yep.
remember, I'm picturing Will Levis like laying on the ground and Will McDonald tripping over him, and that was a sack. Like, right? That's like
That's
so
true.
like sacks. There's an element of luck that's involved with sacks. Sometimes you're not blocked. Sometimes the quarterback's laying on the ground and you trip over him. Sometimes you're the closest guy when he runs out of bounds. So yeah, 10.5's a lot.
Plus, if Jermaine Johnson's going to get
Mhm.
his, Quinnen might get
Yeah.
a few more sacks. You have Harrison Phillips gets 3-4 sacks a year. So yeah.
Fellas, let's close this out. It's the official win-loss prediction for the Jets this season. I don't know if you want to go first, Kaz. But
I'll go last. I
You
want to
go
go
last.
last. I want to
Okay.
hear what you guys have
I
to
do
say.
actually want to hear what you have to say, Frankie, on your win-loss prediction for the Jets this season, for the 2025 season.
I want to see if Ryan is still as high on the team
Oh,
as he
yeah.
was whenever.
Ryan,
when
we
first
all
talked about
remember
this.
Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I still got mine.
Guys, not to be the boring person on this topic, but I'm sticking with what I had initially. I went through the schedule. I moved things around. I'm going with 7-10. I think, and it's going to be a good 7-10 though. I think it's going to be something that we look back on this season and say, hey, we could have done this better. We could have had some better play at quarterback. We can draft someone. Aaron Glenn's got something here. Who knows what that something is, but it's something rather than nothing. So I'm looking at 7-10. I'm sticking with that number.
I am going to be the optimist yet again on this show, it feels like, between you two, just because I like to look on the brighter side of things. I believe in the Aaron Glenn effect, and I just feel that even though the offense may not be as explosive, it's not going to be a heavy passing attack, they are going to run the hell of the football. I think that will be a big part of how they succeed in these games, controlling the clock, controlling the game. I think the defense has a chance to be better. I really do think that the way that the messaging has been for this team from the start is we're going to coach these guys like they've never been coached before. We're going to get more out of the talent that's actually been on this roster. So I see 10 wins on the schedule here. I got them at 10-7.
Wow.
I know that's a crazy high projection and prediction.
He's
for
stuck
them.
with it, Kaz. You
I'm
see
sticking
this?
with
He
it.
did. Give him credit.
I can't get away from it. I stick to what I say.
You're a man of your
I'm
word
sure
of
I'll
your
regret it 5 weeks into the season when they're 2-3 or 2-4. But I see a lot of wins in the back half after that.
2-3, you'll be celebrating if they're 2-3 in that schedule. First 5 games.
Yeah, they'll probably. I see them at 2-4 most likely after 6 weeks, maybe 2-5 after 7. But they're going to rack off a lot of wins in that second half of the season after the bye. The Browns are not good in my opinion. The Patriots I think are even with the Jets, and I have a feeling the Jets can make some damage against the Patriots. The Dolphins, I think, are the worst team in that division.
They look like
and
a
I
train
think
wreck.
the Jets should sweep the Dolphins this year. The
If we're 10-7, we're gonna have a fun football season.
it's going to be a heck of a
It's gonna be a party all year.
It's gonna be a party. It's gonna be fun talking football with Kaz. He'll
Absolutely.
maybe finally get to cover a playoff team in this godforsaken city because we know he has not done that yet here with the Jets.
The
So
Kaz curse is it gonna continue? No, man.
Yes.
Kaz, he's saying 10 wins. He really thinks it. This guy. So
I'm positive.
Yeah. Look, I think I'm being optimistic. I'm going 8-9.
wow. Okay.
And I think
Wow,
I'm
okay.
giving them the Aaron Glenn bump, right? Like I that to me is part of the Aaron Glenn effect. I think it's going to be a tough start, right? I just think they have some tough opponents early in the season. I think they're going to have some growing pains on offense. Just, Angstrand is a first-time coordinator. You got a first-time offensive line coach. You obviously have a quarterback in a new place. You've got a rookie right tackle. You got a second-year left tackle, a rookie tight end. There's a lot of growing pains on offense to me early in the season. I think they'll get better as the season goes on. And I think that's going to be the story we're talking about in January is, they're heading in the right direction. I agree with you, Ryan. There's winnable games in the second half of the season. They'll probably rattle off a pretty good winning streak to end the year of 6 out of 7 or whatever it might be. And we're going in the offseason going, he's got them pointing in the right direction. They just need a little more talent. They need to do this, that to fix it. And going into 2026. And the thing I'd say about the Dolphins point, Ryan, I agree. I think they are probably last in the AFC East. But in the last however many years you want to take it, the Jets or the Dolphins have probably been the worst team in the AFC East a lot of times, right? The Patriots obviously dominated this division for a long time, then the Bills have dominated. So the Jets and Dolphins have always kind of been, tougher. And they split a lot. So I see a split. Like even like I think when the Jets sweeping them, probably not. Same thing with the Patriots. I think they'll probably split those games. And then the Bills are the tough one because that last game could be meaningless for the Bills, but it's the last game in that stadium, regular season game. They're going to be juiced up, but who knows what that game will mean. And yeah, Browns, Panthers, Saints, all games the Jets should win. Now, I'll make the point again. If you're doing a podcast in Cleveland, Charlotte, and New Orleans right now, and you're doing their schedule, you're going, hey, they got the Jets, so maybe they could win that game. So, yeah. But yeah, 8-9, and to me, I feel like I'm being optimistic at 8-9. I don't feel like that's a pessimistic view at all this season. I've been wrong. I picked 10-7 last year. I was way wrong on that one, obviously. So I've been wrong before. So we'll see.
I'll say this, guys. I think it's going to be imperative for the Jets to come out and beat Pittsburgh week 1. Because if you beat Pittsburgh week 1, right, and you play Buffalo tough week 2, the amount of confidence, and you can start building some momentum in that locker room.
Yeah.
You can beat Tampa. I think Tampa's going to have a down year without Liam Cohen there. I just don't see them being what they were last year offensively. Then you're going and playing Miami on the road on Monday Night Football. Dallas will be tough at home. You have London, but then you have, later on, then you got the Panthers, the Browns, the Falcons, Dolphins, Jaguars, Saints. I mean, like, you have games you can win there. So,
yeah, Frankie, that's the path. What you just said, because to me, it's like go back to 2015, right? That's really the last time the Jets did that. And they came out, they beat a bad Cleveland team in week 1. They took care of business. And then if you remember, they went into Indianapolis on a Monday night when Andrew Luck was still the quarterback. The Colts had been in the AFC Championship game the year before. That was Deflategate, that game, championship or division game, whatever it was. It was a championship game, I think. But it was a good Colts team, and they beat them on a Monday night. And all of a sudden, it was like, whoa. Like, these guys are better than we thought. And because no one thought that team was going to win 10 games that year, especially when, Fitz steps in for Geno. So, but you're right, they gained momentum, they won some games, and then they finished strong. And I think this Jets team, the schedule sets up for them to finish strong. So yeah, the key may be how they start the season and can they gain some confidence there.
Just get off to a strong start. That's all I want to see.
They need to for 10-7.
Yeah, well, I know.
Really hasn't been. They haven't done it since 2015.
If you looked at Kaz's Post Sports Plus piece, and I'll plug it here right now, other than the win against the Bills, it's been an ugly first game of the season for the Jets every week.
And that game was a horrible game, Ryan. Like that.
That was the horrible game.
That game was the worst win in Jets history, I think.
I still get depressed thinking about that game, Kaz.
Yeah. So no, it's been. And look, the other one, Ryan, is they killed the Lions in Sam Darnold's debut on the Monday night, right? But then they turned around and lost to the Dolphins the next week at home. So they didn't. The momentum didn't carry over, and they ended up winning 3 more games the rest of the season. But yeah, that was a good start. But yeah, the starts have not been good around here for a while.
It's gonna be fun, fellas. It's
Rodgers coming back to MetLife, fellas.
We'll get into that next week. This is the Jets season preview. This is Gangs All Year. Jets fans, as always, we appreciate you all tuning in and watching and listening to the podcast, whether you get it on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever you get your podcast. We appreciate you for your comments, and we love your feedback, and we're going to be here all season long covering the Jets like we always do. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on the YouTube channel. For Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium, for Brian Costello from the Jets facility, I'm Ryan Sampson. We'll catch you next week, Jets fans.